I'm going to try to talk here. I'm got an ear that is bad here. I've had a bacterial that I don't think I ever got rid of, and it's one eardrum burst. I hope this one didn't go until I can't hear out of it this morning. Anyway, I want to show this. I've tried to put up a video this morning. I tried it 2 or 3 times, and I had a 1 and 2 of WDBJ7, and I had on there Falwell of Liberty University, and the parody that Parody-Flynt in Hustler magazine had published after I was out there in '83 that he had shown me. And Mr. Flynt, I'm going to show this first. This is Hustler magazine, where in April of '84 he did an endorsement. It says, I know who was responsible for shooting in Lawrenceville, Georgia. I was doing a book in Marietta about mind control murders, Tesla files, where people can be programmed. They call them the Manchurian candidate, but they're really victims themselves. And civil rights gun. So this was really what Mr. Flynt was talking about too. This gets into this whole thing, the parody and civil rights, because there was a the civil rights, I believe, where he went into the Supreme Court and sued for freedom of speech. So I don't know. Anyway, civil rights is taken away from people who are programmed. They don't even have an idea that they've been chipped or being programmed. It's done at a low level that they're not aware of, and it's like Larry Flynt was shot by a program shooter. And I was doing the book at that time when he was shot. I lived in Marietta. I had a letter from the FBI, ongoing investigation, national security involved. So I'm just going to skip to this. I was almost killed and horrible more than once, but April Fool Day of '80, worked for the district attorney Fred Simpson, as in Simpson and she married double. She never married my father. He was married to Georgia O'Keeffe's baby sister, Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe, my mom. This was Elizabeth, fake traitor, war criminal. Her father was appointed when they listen to this, monarch, after they took out my father, who was married and still married to Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe. They were both alive October the 20th of '86 when I came to Roanoke. So really, his identity was stolen, replaced by this sick bunch of people here. And his own brother, George the Sixth, illegal. This is Roosevelt's, who are part of the global government, the Illuminati, that took down my father and kidnapped me. This is in '39, and this is when they're planning my kidnapping, and this is George Elizabeth's father. And they're illegal. They're war criminals. It's a treaties that my father wouldn't take orders from the Illuminati, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, Roosevelt's, the Kennedy clan, and yes, they're mafia. So she's lived a good life. She's a traitor. She should be prosecuted, the whole bunch of them. Anyway, this is Snowden, Edward Snowden, who told the truth about the government, but this was really what he told didn't even touch it, the real stuff, and he was, last I heard, he was in Russia. Now, I did want to mention this because this is James Holmes of the Aurora, Colorado shootings. This man is not mentally ill. JFK later, he helped in my kidnapping, and they brought me to Moulton, Alabama, and gave me the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married a Childers, but I have to use that name. Both twins were murdered by their mother, Lina, and the family covered it up, and it was a horrible existence. It was a sick place. Not just poverty, they were sick. So anyway, my life has been hell, and my children's too, and I hope they're alive somewhere. Anyway, I was writing about mind control, the Tesla files that were stolen, and oddly enough, they were stolen in 30, and it involved more than just a simple, well, it's not simple, but mind control, where you can cure an illness or create it. So they've always had a cure for cancer or diabetes, you name it. But they also can create, in the AIDS and the Ebola, plus I don't know how many more were created. And that's where I got in trouble too. I got in trouble for telling the truth about who was doing it. Sent to South Africa. So now I'm going to skip over here, and I hope you're following me, because I put up 2 and they're not going up for some reason. Someone sent this up, a church did. I was living on the trail up here. This is after I was at Mr. Flint's in '83 and ran in the campaign to replace U.S. Congressman Larry McDonald, doctor from Piedmont in Atlanta, and part of the cases I was writing about. So he got into my takedown too and trying to kill me, and Beecham and Gonzalez. And there's one that was waiting on me there when they put the stuff in me that should have killed me, and I'm not going to mention it, but had a test finally done about a week and a half later. Should have killed me. It was still in me. So the minister of the church sent this up to me, and it's what he told them to tell me it's what I'd been talking about. And I found out recently, that the author of it's Bio Chips and Project Lucid's the name of the book here. And it's by, not Tex Mars, I understand he's deceased, Jim Mars. I don't know if they're related, I think they are, but this is the book he wrote, and it's talking about biochips will be placed by the agency into all this. And here I've been writing about chips being put in people since '76. I first knew about it in about 64, maybe? 64? Okay, this is Timothy McVeigh, and he's been put to death for the Oklahoma City bombing. Well, they're saying William had a chip put in him in case he was kidnapped. I think that was more a gesture or knowledge that it was me that kidnapped. He's not heir to anything but to go to jail if there's any wrongs to be made right. But Timothy McVeigh said here he had it put up his buttocks by the U.S. Army that he had worked for. Computer chip put in him. Now, I think I put them up here. This is the double that married, well, one of them. There were several imposters. And, of course, Edward Snowden. Snowden, you're getting the name Edward there, who's an honorable man, and along with, Julian Assange, in my thoughts, and for real, if anybody wants to admit it, he's one of the greatest people ever walked the planet, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. He's admirable. He's done the right thing. He's told the truth, and therein is the problem. Now, Snowden, you get a name from Edward, and these things were done in pattern, some of these murders, and deliberately. And you get an Edward from, like, my father, Edward VIII, who never married Wallace Simpson. Now, his last name's Snowden. Now, Margaret, the youngest sister, my name's Margaret too, Victoria II. This was her younger sister. She married Anthony Armstrong Jones, I believe his name was. He was a photographer. And by the way, let me finish this. He was a photographer. So he wasn't a titled. So she created a title for him, Snowden. I believe that's how it went. I don't have it written down. I did. And the children, of course, they get all this life and all this. This is the, I believe this, Margarita Armstrong Jones. So it's the whole crew of thieves. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go back to this, though, because the mental JFK partnered with Martin Luther King. So this whole thing would blow open a bunch of stuff they don't want told, other than my kidnapping, taking down my father, and what they did to my sons, which is horrific, all because of who we are. A joke, sick joke. The guy that sent the flowers to me with the only ones I got when I had Mark, I couldn't remember them being kidnapped and everything. I did later, in '83, after I was at Mr. Flint's. But they did it to him, and they sent flowers with boxing gloves, and I thought it was cute at the time, till I found out later he was Jewish, and my husband's boss, at least he thought he was, and he sent them as a joke to let me know they had something to do in it. And then my second son, Scott, I've put that up here taken. I didn't get him back. They gave me another baby that had black hair and looked to be 2 months old. It was in the Catholic hospital there at Northside in Atlanta. Now this man, though, what I want to say, he was programmed, and they're calling this mental illness, and it has nothing to do with mental illness. It has to do with programming, mind control, without their knowledge. So when they go out and shoot, they don't even know they're going to do it. That's the reason of the precision in putting bombs together and all this. They're not doing it. It's been programmed into them. And therein lies the motive with the programmers. Now, he was treated for mental illness and given psychotic drugs. How sick. You talk about, you go in and you got cancer and they treat you for mental illness, like give you some hot psychotic drugs. Do you think there wouldn't be hell to pay yet? This has been going on and allowed to. Martin Luther King helped. So you're going to tear down Robert E. Lee up here in Charlottesville, and I understand out at Stone Mountain, the Confederate out there and all over. And if anybody touched this man's statues, you'd have hell to pay. Now I'm going back over here. Now, this is when they were planning my kidnapping, George and Roosevelt, the Jew. Can I say that? I wasn't prejudiced. I'm still not. But I sure the hell don't like somebody doing all this to me, mine and my country, and ongoing. So I'm just going to show this real quick. Then I want to get to something else. This was this is talking about the Tesla files. And Jack Hartsfield, I put up a letter too about brainwave manipulation, particle beam weapons, worldwide radar, and it goes on and on here, for seismic weather and mind control. And supposedly Tesla files were stolen by President Trump's uncle was a professor at MIT. And this is on YouTube, and been told that his uncle was great influence and that he stole the Tesla files in 30. Well, no, the Illuminati did. Now, I hope the people that kidnapped me and took down my father, your global government, sitting up as the United Nations in New York City, where the headquarters of Rockefeller is, and they got a Christmas tree sitting there. Christmas tree, I think, is supposed to be because of Christ. So, you know, it's really beyond me. They must think the man upstairs is, well, anyway, I'd get in trouble for saying what they think he must be. To believe they're just good old guys. He predicted it in the Bible, putting chips in people and all that. Now, if I can get this up, my other two YouTubes won't go up on this subject. I'm talking about WDBJ7, and I just put one up. I got up this morning, came in here, and these people have always known about me, about mind control, about, my ear's going to go out, about the patterns that were done in, that I'm Victoria II, heir of the British Crown, and how I've had to live. And they won't tell a word. Even one of their people was killed there. She was going to marry Hearst. His name was Hearst, and he was a, Well, I'm going to miss and not get the rest of it. He was anchor there, but he's gone on to House of Delegates, and I thought sure he would tell because the girl that was shot, he was going to marry, and the man was a TV cameraman that was shot some years ago by a program shooter, Williams. Nothing was ever said the truth about it. Now, I'm going to skip. It's what she said this morning. She's had a cushiony job. All these people have. They should be handcuffed and locked up. They're the criminals. I'm talking about your Illuminati, the whole bunch of them. They've all known this. And I put some other stuff on the videos that didn't go up. But anyway, I can't do it again. I'm in too bad a shape. So what she was talking about this morning on Channel 7, when I turned it on, she was talking about First Lady Trump coming to speak about opioids. I don't even know how you say it for some reason. And that was very important. They call themselves, we are family. How do they do it? See, I'm an intruder. My mom was an American. Hey, they didn't mind getting the money and the ransom from me and all, and watching me being tortured. And I'm the one telling you about all this and telling about the mind control murders. And Scott Peterson's on death row. That was a mind control murder. George Wallace was shot by a program shooter. There's a whole list of them. Not just me, but Jack Hartsfield, a reporter, FBI agent, told it. Nobody would print it. He saved my life. Now then, how dare them that's important to this area. And she's talking about Melania Trump and First Lady. And it's nice of her to say nice things about her. I like her too. My ears going to go out. Anyway, real quick, back to the Tesla files. Trump's uncle was supposed to have had them back then in 30. It's Illuminati. So I hope he's not involved with the Illuminati, President Trump. But anyway, fast forward, I'm doing a book about the murders and all this, 76 and all 1976. I am writing it. And he becomes president. And then I find out that what I'm writing is connected with the end times, Revelation, chipping, and the global government, which is Illuminati that took my dad down and kidnapped me. Now, I'm not going to get all this up, and this is the important thing. Also, I'm not going to get up. Where I've been living here, I've talked about being run from motel to motel to try to get HUD low income, and I have an autoimmune disorder, and I can't be around toxic fumes and clothes. I should have lived a normal life, but over time, you have to stay away from it. It's just that simple. You're allergic to peanuts, you don't eat peanuts. So same thing here. You have to get away from it. Well, you could call my rooms, specific rooms I've put in, as a gas chamber. So somebody at Edinburgh, Carol Rogers Simon, her husband was a psychiatrist in Seattle. What she's doing down here in HUD, paying hardly any rent. She said her husband told her I was paying for the crimes my family committed against the Jews in the Holocaust. Oh, okay, where am I at now? I was out at Mr. Flint's, and I hope I get this up. Here where I'm living, I put up recently about how sick the toilets overflowed. I even put a picture up. And this is ongoing for the last, switching rooms with me and making it worse at the ones I go to. And not just the chemicals. And they turn it off and on, just like if you can turn things with your phone off and on at your home if you want to, lock the doors, etc., refrigerator, cook. So it's the same method here. What they're doing to me, and it's torture. It's beyond belief. The inflammation. It's going off. I'm not going to tell it, so I'm going to have to do another short one. But this involves, the toilet involves, it just dawned on me today with all the other